Okay, Piers Morgan really steps in it. I just went off on it. I don't want to let it run too long. It was 20 minutes long, but boy, this one here, this just shows you the stupidity and the propaganda that Piers Morgan believes in. And hey, there's a lot of Americans that believe in this myopic view. It's based on ego and pride, and we know what's best, and our governments are here to protect us. Bullshit. Here you go.
1 million Ukrainians arriving to your home, and then over 30 years, that number increased to 30% of the population, and then the UN gave you less than half of your country. Wouldn't you fight? Wouldn't you resist? But now it's our...
That wasn't my question.
What was your question?
Whether you can find anything to criticize since 1948.
Give me something to criticize.
No,
there's a lot to criticize.
You know the history better than anyone.
There is a lot to criticize. Of course, there's a lot of mistakes. I mean, the Middle East has been plagued by a lot of the military dictatorship, of course. But having mistakes we should not be penalized by having our land taken away from us just because the other side is stronger. Right? Because what are you telling your kids? If you're strong and you have enough arms and weapons, you can take whatever land you want. That's not why the UN was formed. That's not why the Security Council was formed.
When you heard that Sinwar, the Hamas leader, had been killed, what were your feelings about that?
Well, when I heard he was killed, of course, this is something that was actually, I said, like, oh, wow, that's actually, he survived all of that. But I think it was a huge mistake by the Israelis to release the footage, because now he's an icon, right?
Is he?
Well, someone's terrorist is someone else's hero, right?
Right. All he did was lob a piece of wood at them. That was it.
Yeah. He was also he was lost an arm and he was there, and it took them 3 tanks to bring down the house. Hey, you can respect your enemy.
But when you saw the footage, for example, of Sinwar in one of the tunnels he'd helped create, spending the billions that had been given to Hamas.
Billions?
Well, they were given billions of dollars. And I would say Netanyahu was quite happy to do that because he wanted to create a split between Hamas and the Palestinian Authority. So I'm not...
So why are we blaming Hamas? Why are we not blaming Hamas?
No, I'm just saying that Hamas had an option of how to spend that money.
Yeah,
they were the government in power, and they chose predominantly to spend it on a tunnel system and arming themselves. When you see Sinwar walking through that tunnel safely with his wife and his kids and so on, and there's a load of money next to him.
A lot of money?
There was a huge pile of cash next to where he was supposedly sleeping. When you see that, do you not think that he
totally made up? He was in a
his own
fucking
people?
chair. You lying son of a
They weren't
bitch.
able to use these tunnels, the Palestinians.
Well,
he knew when he activated October the 7th and ordered it, what the reaction was likely to be. He was sentencing to death immediately thousands of his own people, none of whom were allowed, apart from the Hamas elements, to use the tunnel system. Is that not a sickening betrayal of his people?
Well, let's talk about the billions of dollars who were what was actually used. I remember a report by Ben Shapiro, and he brought videos of Hamas digging up tubes, water pipes, and then and they're using them as weapons. And they said these are the money that was given to them by the EU, and they squandered it, they took the money. But the thing is, what Ben Shapiro didn't say, that he stole that report from Al Jazeera. He removed the narration, and what the narration was said that this was actually pipes that was installed by the Israelis in order to steal the money from Gaza.
Okay, but
so there's a lot of lying in the thing.
I don't dispute this line, but what you can't dispute, Bassem, is that clearly since 2005, Hamas has spent a fortune of money they could have spent differently with their people. They spent it on this sophisticated and extensive tunnel system.
The tunnel system that is bigger than the New York subway system?
It would appear so.
450 miles?
I don't know. Do you know how big it is?
450. Nobody. I think if there's 450 miles underneath the tunnel, we have seen droves and droves of tunnels. What we have seen is small rooms, some very, very.
So you don't believe that there is?
No, I don't. No, I don't believe. Of course, there are tunnels, but I don't believe that there are 450 miles, because that's ridiculous. If you want to understand, you tell me that Hamas, under siege, were able to build a subway system bigger than New York in less than 15 years? I don't think.
Did they serve their people, though, with how they spent their money?
I'm not sure. I don't know. The thing is, there's a lot of propaganda. I don't know how much they spend on themselves. I don't know how much they spend on the tunnels. I don't know how much they spend on the people. But the thing is, these are all side talks. The main talk is the daily killing that's happening all through. They could be bad people. They could be horrible people. They could be corrupt people.
Could be or are?
They are. Okay, they are horrible. They are vampires. They're zombies.
But do you believe that, or are you just saying that for performative reasons?
No, I'm saying that because again, I don't want to go and find the FBI at my door.
But I'd rather you were honest. I mean, surely we're at the stage of this war now, a year on, where I can find a lot to criticize with Netanyahu and his government, and I can find a lot.
And this is the problem I have with U.S. people. I do. People have opinions. Piers Morgan's built his reputation on basically beating a drum for the commercialism of media, of the development of whatever is good for the oligarchs. He doesn't want to look at the fact of the history of Israel. He ignores the fact that October 7th had been proven. It was not an unprovoked attack. Proven.
The man who seeks trends and increasing viewership, true. Yes. As he hosts people and sits with them to raise viewership numbers, yes. His opinion isn't important at all because he only cares about what is trending and what people will talk about. So it doesn't matter that he changed his opinion. Mm-hmm. Piers is a man who has a media platform on which we appear to convey our ideas to his viewers, nothing more.
And there's nothing wrong with that. By the way, that's your job, actually, to get clicks and views. Because the question I was asked is, what do you think of Piers? Does he change your mind? And I said, I don't care about him changing.
I understand that.
Because that's your job.
But the implication of what you were saying was that that's all I care about. And I don't actually care about what I genuinely care about, which is trying to work out what the world should think about this. Mm-hmm. What is the correct proportionate response from either side to any of the things that have happened? And I think it is morally complex. You find it morally more straightforward. Mm-hmm. I find it complicated.
Well, Piers, you find it complicated because you're trying to justify the war. Why don't you take it from a compassionate point of view where innocent men, women, and children are being mass murdered? Now you might understand why the world is against this.